Well, good Monday morning and welcome back to the start of your work week with another forecast with me. My name is Peyton Gallion here with your hail trace forecast for the week. But right now we're going to start off with the northern plains risk for today. I'm talking about Nebraska and South Dakota. Do have the chance of seeing those intense storms along with other places across the country. And yes, it is still hot. That heat wave continues to push across the country, bringing record-breaking temperatures across areas in the south. And we're going to talk about that 5-day forecast coming up here in OKC, DFW, and Denver. See who's getting the break from the triple-digit temperatures. Spoiler alert, not many of us. And right now we're going to take a look at these storm reports from yesterday. We do have a report of a tornado near Hays, Kansas. National Weather Service officials are looking into that. But you can see just how many wind and hail reports were across central Kansas. Even a lot of flooding reports across Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, pushing into the Florida Panhandle due to a storm system they received. And then yesterday, the northeast Vermont was hit once again with some large and torrential downpours that encouraged the flooding risk that was already ongoing in this area from the previous week. And as we take a look at our current conditions right now, we can see that the Tulsa area is in a severe thunderstorm watch until about 5 p.m. tonight. This does not include the Oklahoma City metro, but this does include Tulsa, Miami, Bartlesville. You can see this one cell coming out of Kansas, continuing to push south up to golf ball size hail is possible. And we can see we have some more lingering showers in Missouri, continuing to move south and east. And just the overall big picture, once again, it is hot. 92 in Houston, 96 in DFW, 79 up in Kansas City due to that cloud coverage keeping you a little bit warm. But the feel-like temperatures are just off the charts, triple digits pretty much across the south into Vegas in the west. And it's not going to get any better going into the next few days. These heat watches and warnings are going to continue. The excessive heat watch and the excessive heat warning in the oranges and the pinks. Make sure you limit your outdoor exposure, especially if you feel the ongoing effects of heat illness, especially for the elderly and kids. You need to make sure you are hydrating, getting those electrolytes in your body, and limiting the outdoor exposure. And once again, these feels like temperatures are going to be reaching 110 to 120, and that's just in the shade. That is not in direct sunlight. It's going to feel warmer in those areas. So taking a look at that Muggy Forecast, we can see much of the Gulf Coast from San Antonio all the way to Mobile. It's nasty out there. It's sticky when you're walking outside. It's just not very pleasant. Here in Oklahoma City, we are feeling it as well. Going to Little Rock and Shreveport, once again, where that cloud coverage is, limiting that sun exposure, but it's still just not very pleasant. If you're a roofer out in this situation, it's going to feel horrible. So looking ahead to tonight, we have that storm system coming through Rapid City, going into the Omaha area, and you can see a little bit of cluster of storms around the Kansas City area that we are watching as well. And again, it's going to make its way through parts of Missouri. We're going to be watching these kind of pop-up showers. That's where we have that hail potential, just isolated larger hail amounts with these pop-up storms compared to that strong line we have going through. They might intensify and then they're going to die back overnight as they head down into the Memphis area. Northeast, you also have that chance of storms going into early tomorrow morning. Not as much of a hail threat that we have here in the Kansas City area and Rapid City. You can see parts of Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota, and Nebraska are in that risk we are watching. And as we go to this portion of the country, you can see areas in the yellow, talking about Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky. We're in that level 1. And as you get into the orange and that red area over the Joplin, Pittsburgh, Kansas area, that's where we're going up in our rankings. This is where we can see isolated larger hail amounts over golf ball size hail possible. So that can cause damage to your cars. It can also cause damage to your roof. So make sure anything you have outside you don't want to be damaged that is brought inside. Along with that hail risk for today, we have that wind risk. Again, strong gusty winds up north from Montana down to South Dakota into parts of Nebraska. And again, in Indiana, Kentucky, and Missouri, this is where we have extremely gusty winds up to hurricane force possible with that 70+ mile an hour defining mark. So going into tomorrow, we are not done yet. Parts of Missouri has another round of storms coming through. You can see that Nashville area impacted as well as they continue making that little break up to the West Virginia area. But just look how strong these storms are come your rush hour Wednesday morning. You can see the Nashville metro is about right here. These storms are a little bit north, but this is a forecast model. It's not saying this exact location. There could be some movement in the forecast come Wednesday morning. Could be south, could be a little bit north. So if you find yourself in the central Kentucky or Tennessee area, keep an eye on your local forecast for the latest. Come back here tomorrow as we pinpoint the exact location you could find these storms. So going into tomorrow's hail threat, we're going to be isolated in southern Indiana, parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, and Missouri. St. Louis, you have that bullseye for tomorrow with this level 1 hail risk. Coming tomorrow, we're going to have a better idea of how strong these hailstones will be, how large they'll be, and the timing on everything to get that latest forecast for you. Now going out to the next 5 days here in Oklahoma City, you can see today we're going to be shy of that 100 mark. With the shy chance of rain, we have those storms coming from Tulsa, from Kansas down to the Tulsa area. We could have a little break and showers make their way a little bit westward to us. We're not planning hugely on it, but you can see Tuesday, Wednesday, we are in the triple digits. You can see just how high these temperatures are going to be. Still have those excessive heat warnings probably going to be extended with these feels like temperatures as well, and those no rain chances after today until we get to Friday. You can see we're going to drop into the 80s, and that's once again due to that cloud coverage coming into the area, dropping our high to 86 degrees and our low back into the 60s. The other days our lows are going to stay in the 70s, and even tomorrow night we might not even get out of the 80s. Extremely warm overnight temperatures, and once we get to DFW, it is extremely warm. Today 105, tomorrow 106, Wednesday 104. Your overnight lows aren't getting out of the 80s, and you don't have a rain chance at all for the next 5 days. You might have a little bit of cloud coverage late Thursday into Friday to give you a little bit of relief, but this is just extremely warm temperatures, making any concrete or hard dark surface extremely warm, like those roof shingles that need the repairs from past events or just a new roof altogether. That does hinder the opportunity that can be fixed. Now going to Denver, they have a little bit of more pleasant weather. However, today they're going to reach 99. It is still warm out there, and 96 tomorrow, dropping back to the 80s for your Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. In Denver, you also have a storm chance for your Thursday and Friday, up to an 80% and 60% chance of those storms. So once again, come back here in the coming days for the latest forecast, because you know you love our forecast so much, and we appreciate all the viewers we do get. And now, changing views, going back to our tropics, last week we talked about Dawn, and Dawn is still out there. Dawn is formed. Dawn is a subtropical depression, and you can see where Dawn's been. He's just making his way around the Atlantic, and here's his current position. There he is, just chilling, and going out for the next few days, he's going to do another loop around the Atlantic. He's no threat to the United States at the current moment, and as long as he stays out here, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm sure you're perfectly fine with that, because he is causing no harm for anyone else. And before we go, we're going to highlight a hailstorm we had this past week in the Kansas area. You can see just east of Dodge City. This was a 3-star yesterday. The max hail size was 4 inches in diameter and impacted a lot of homes. We're talking about Great Bend, Phillipsburg, and Spearville, Kansas. So make sure you're checking up on your friends and family you have in this area. And as always, you can check back for our website for maps just like this. And you can always contact us as well if you are interested in our products. Before we go, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for all fun content. And come back here this time tomorrow for your next forecast. You can always email us at info@hailtrace.com or go to our website at www.hailtrace.com. Thanks again, and this has been a Peyton Gallion forecast with Hail Trace.